Hey there. I am feeling kind of nostalgic today. It's my 60th birthday. I thought, you know what? What the heck? We'll do a little pop up live here. I'm going to pull this up on my channel so I can, again, see what it looks like for other people that are looking at it. And I thought that uh, I would share with you guys. It just occurred to me today. I don't have a lot of baby pictures of myself, but I've got my old baby book, and it is really beat up. It got chewed on by one of the grand dogs once upon a time. Don't ask me to remember why it was out so that she could get to it. But, I'm sure that over time it's going to look even worse than it does. It's just a vintage old baby book with I don't know that it's organza. I don't know what this little cover is made of, but I thought it might be fun to share that with you guys. I wanted to look through it. There are a couple of pictures in it, and I think they're dated, but I want to say they're probably from the time I was, between 3 and 6 months old. Oldest pictures I have, and I'm not even sure where all the other baby pictures of me might be or who's got them. Hey, Chef. Hey, Stuart. So I've got a second screen up for myself, and I'm just going to go through this little baby book with you guys. It's been a great birthday so far. I slept in a little bit, almost till 8 o'clock this morning, that's late around here. And I was amazed that the dogs allowed that. Hey, Steve, how are you? Because typically the dogs don't know if it's a weekend or a holiday or if somebody's sick or it's a special occasion. When they get hungry, they're hungry and they make sure I know it. But this morning they let me sleep in. So, hey, David, how are you? So it was really nice to get to sleep in a little bit this morning. The sun is out. It's still really muddy in some places here, but we're so grateful for the rain that it's nothing to complain about. So it won't be a long stream today. I'm so tickled when you guys show up. Hey, Ralph, how are you? Hi, Joe. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everyone. And I'm just going to go through this old baby book with you. So first, you're going to see the condition of the baby book. Let me see if I can get this figured out. So see, it's pretty chewed up. The grand dog got a hold of it once upon a time and just chewed around on the edges. I'm sure it had some interesting smells and textures and stuff that might have been new to her. Hey, Joe and Sue. So this is my old baby book. I don't know if you can make out those words there. Let's see. Welcome to our baby. And it's definitely got some signs of wear. This says, given by Aunt Linda to little Kathy. Aunt Linda was my dad's oldest sister. My dad was the oldest of three children, and his sister Linda uh, gave us this baby book when I was little. So here's again just some vintage artwork in here. The pages are very like construction papery, and it does have that old book smell that I love. That like I love going to used bookstores and public libraries and stuff. Hey, Byron, how are you? Thank you. I'm having a wonderful day so far. Um, and then on this page, it says Granny Moore's Christmas 1962, 3 months old, which makes me think that there may have been a picture on this page at some point. And maybe it's around somewhere. Yeah, I can see where maybe there's a little part of the surface of the page is torn up where some tape may have come off of here. Um, but again, just super vintage old. The pages are in pretty good shape. And the book has always been kept in a box, up high on a shelf in the closet or somewhere safe. And then here are the details on who put this little baby book together. Because this baby book has lots of sections on how to take care of your new baby and, stuff like that. Hey, Katie, how are you? Thank you for being here. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Here's some details about the authors. And then again, just how to have a baby, like how to have a baby, what to expect. We all know things have changed, 100-fold since back when this book may have been written. I know when I was born, when my sister was born, we're 11 months apart. So for this past month, my sister and I have been the same age, and we've always kind of played that up and had a lot of fun with that. Uh, and so now we'll spend the next 11 months with me being the older sister again. I'm the oldest of four, but my sister and I are real close together. And then there was a big gap between when our brothers were born. In fact, I was almost 17 when my youngest little brother was born, and they had some troubles, so they have not really been connected with the family for a long, long time. So again, just some interesting information. Oh, but back to, so when I was born and my little sister was born, it was hey Akashi, how are you? Thank you for being here. It was the standard that women spent, I think, 3 or 4 days in the hospital, and then they'd go home and they weren't allowed to even get out of bed for like 2 weeks. And I do remember when my oldest little brother was born, that was December of 1970. So I was a little over 8 years old. And I just remember at that point starting to form a really uncomfortable perception of what it was like to have a baby, because it was like my mom was just almost an invalid. But again, at the time, that's what the doctors recommended. They weren't supposed to work, and they weren't supposed to get up, and all they were supposed to do was feed the baby and sleep and rest and recover. And my mom never had C-sections or anything like that, so that just was the protocol for the day. So I'm happy that that has changed. When I had my kids, they did still keep us 3 days no matter what. Obviously, if something wasn't going right, we'd stay longer. And if it was a cesarean, I think you'd stay maybe 5 days. But none of mine were cesareans. They were ridiculously easy deliveries. I never had any drugs. I never had an epidural. And so I was itching to go home right away with the first couple of the kids. And then as I had numbers 3 and 4, because I had all 4 of them in 5 years, I remember realizing what a vacation it was to be at the hospital, because they could come get the baby for me if I needed to sleep, or get him so I could take a shower, stuff like that. And then I know with Stacy, my last one, I realized, wow, these are going to be the only days now that it will just be me and her. I think with Gerald and Stacy both, I kind of realized that those would be the only days that I would ever have with just that one child. So I treasured those days with them. But again, so let's make our way more through this baby book. Hey, Digging for Health, how are you? And Digging for Health, if I know your first name, your real life first name, I don't remember it, but I sure like to know the real life first names. Oh, so here's special hospital services. All right, so technician's report. Oh, this says I'm O positive blood type. I always thought I was A positive blood type. My dad, I thought my dad was, yeah, my dad was O positive. I don't remember. I don't know why I remember that. It says I did not have any transfusions, that they took a chest x-ray. I guess that was maybe kind of common back then. Wow, that could explain some things, huh? My doctor was Dr. McNew. I was born at Methodist Hospital in South Dallas. How did labor begin? Pains. Oh, maybe this is for my mom. Hang on. Oh, I bet this might be my mom. Maybe my mom is O positive. And yeah, that might make sense that they would have taken an x-ray, because I think that's, this was before. Oh, I don't know that it was before sonograms, but it for sure would have been before sonograms were used, for obstetric purposes, and were, I guess, maybe safe enough for that. Labor started at 4 a.m. What type of anesthesia, sedation during labor did you have? Gas and oxygen. Yeah, this was back during like the twilight sleep days. Scopolamine was given, and it wasn't a general anesthesia, but I think it took away your memory for sure. And so, yes, technically at 3:48 a.m. this morning is when I turned 60. Was your delivery spontaneous? Yes. I weighed 7 pounds, 14 and a half ounces. I was not premature. When did the baby reach 5.5 pounds in weight? Last of 8th month. Yeah, that's pretty good there. Head circumference was 14, and I can't really make that out. Oh, that's blurry. I can't really make that out right there. What does that say? 20.5 inches long. That's a pretty good normal baby size. I started out with blue eyes. They've been brown as long as I can remember. I was a breastfed baby. I was also a bottle-fed baby. I did not room in with my mom. I don't think that was as common back then either. Obviously, I was not circumcised, not applicable. I was christened. So my dad's parents were Catholic. My mom was raised in the Church of Christ, and we went to the Church of Christ for most of my life growing up. I kind of moved away from that as I got older. It's just a little too legalistic for me. Same thing with the Catholic Church. It just seems very rigid. And so I kind of consider myself non-denominational. You know, we like to go to the cowboy churches and stuff like that. But I do have a very spiritual side, and I appreciate the traditions and the rituals of the Catholic Church and the Church of Christ. Left the hospital on September 9th, so they just kept her a couple of days. And so my godparents were Lloyd and Lena Irwin. I have nothing but beautiful, fond memories of them. I kept up with them, you know, maybe through about half of my adult life, but they passed away a long time ago. And I did, communicate with their grown children over the years, but, things change and people move away. And I'm sad to say I don't even know where any of them might be, but it was such a great family. Lena Irwin, my godmother, was wheelchair bound, and I still remember how fun I thought it was to get to ride around with her on her wheelchair. And I know she knew it was fun for me. So those are some of my earliest memories, because I did get to spend a lot of time with them. We've got, minimum items and quantities essential for the care of a newborn infant. So here's just a little handy list of what you should have to be able to take care of a baby. I can tell another picture was here at some point. Maybe I'll come across those sometime. So here's all my my specs. My given name is Catherine Ellen. My maternal grandmother was Mary Ellen, and so I got her middle name. My maiden name is Meza. I'm Hispanic. My dad's parents, my grandfather came into Texas from Nuevo Laredo. I think my grandmother was born in the U.S., but maybe lived in Mexico for a while. And she also has French and Basque in her heritage. I'm definitely a Heinz 57. My mom is Irish and Cherokee Indian. There's Methodist Hospital again, 3:48 a.m. in Dallas County, Texas. It does say 20.5 inches long, black hair, blue eyes. My mother's name was Myrtle Ann. My dad's name was Richard. He had no middle name. And there's Dr. McNew's name again. There's my name again. Let's see. Identification marks. Nose like daddy and eyebrow like daddy. Mommy's mouth and feet. That's interesting. I did learn as I got older that I inherited. So sometimes you can get bunions from wearing, tight fitting shoes or high heels a lot. I inherited like a defect in my left foot that resulted in a bunion. I had surgery on that back in 2009. It is coming back. Who knew that bunions can come back after surgery? Okay. Oh, I did know that then, Andrea. I did know that. But I can still remember as a little girl that people would say, and I'm guessing that's the reference here that my mom is making, that I had a mouth and feet like mom, because my grandmother had bunions. And I can remember as a little girl, people would see my feet and say, "Oh, you have your grandmother's feet." So what did I know? It really reared its head when I played softball for a long time, co-ed softball in my younger adult years. I was a pitcher when I played ladies ball, but I was not comfortable pitching to guys when I played co-ed ball. I got hit in the leg one time by a line drive from one of the girls I played with, and like passed out. I didn't even know you could pass out from being hit someplace on your body besides your head, which I got hit in the head, not by a baseball or not by a softball, but I did get hit in the head sliding into home one time, and had a great Easter egg thing on my head, which I was teaching preschool at the time. And when all the little kids saw me that next time I went to the school, they just thought I was cool because I had this big swelling thing on my head. But I got hit right in the front of my leg, kind of my shin, by a line drive by, what was her name? Barbie something. Her name was Barbie something. She was a killer softball player. My sister-in-law was the only one on the team that I think was maybe a little better than she was. And I'm telling you, it knocked me out. That it was so hard, and I guess it probably hit, blood flow area there. And just, wow, lesson learned. So I didn't want to pitch. That's what I was talking about, my bunion. I didn't want to pitch anymore when I moved to co-ed ball. So I was a catcher, which was great for my back because I suffered a back injury a long time ago, high school, diving off the high dive at Helen Wessler Park in Arlington, and damaged a couple of lumbar vertebrae. And so that position of, squatting and having the back kind of stretched out catching was great for my back, but it was agony for my feet because that being up on the balls of my feet was not great for my bunion. So, but neither here nor there because I don't play sports anymore. Let's get back to the baby book. So foods, this is just a list of the things that I was eating. Wow. So she already offered me oatmeal on the 30th of September. So I was 3 weeks old, and I liked it. Only thing it says I wasn't real interested in, I think that says custard. That's funny. So who knows what that really means? I think of custard and it's like pudding. And then anything she can get a hold of. So I'm not a picky eater now. There's some stuff I don't eat very often, but it has more to do with just not having opportunities to eat it, or it's expensive, or all of the above. A little family tree that never got filled out, sadly. I sometimes think about doing like what is that called? That ancestry.com. I think that might be fun. Let me look at chat right quick. Yeah, there are inherited conditions, Andrea, and I'm sad to say that's part of what I inherited. I inherited a lot of great things from my ancestors too, but thank you, Katie, if you're still here. Oh, and yes, thank you, Byron. Y'all hit that like button for me. Okay, and let me look at Andrew's thing. I put a framing staple into my thumb once that hit the bone. It made me throw up and then pass out. Okay, so yeah, that's true. It could have been a nerve-related issue. And I know the body does that as a protective measure so that you don't enhance a problem that might be related to the injury. Thank you for being here, Andrea. All right, so in my family tree, there's my dad. And my grandmother and grandfather on his side were Sally and LG. And sadly, I don't even know to this day what LG stood for. It was a very Hispanic name, I know that, which is probably why he went by LG. But Sally and LG Meza were my grandparents, my dad's parents. And then my mom, there's my mom. And then her mom was Mary Jane. Oh, Mary Jane. I know that's not right. Was Mary Ellen Hankins. And I never met this grandfather. So these are the grandparents, I guess, that maybe they were still together right when I was born. But the grandfather that I met was Virgil Moore, and he was my peepaw, and he was the most amazing grandfather. So he's the grandfather that taught us how to fish. And when we learned to fish, we had to catch our own bait because we fished with grasshoppers and worms and crickets and things. And we had to skin and scale and clean our own fish. And I just think that's part of it. And that's what all kids should learn if they're going to learn how to fish. And then last name, I think this says Alford because I sort of remember in my mind Alford, but I did not know any of my great grandparents. My great great grandfather, is this right? My great great grandfather, yes, was full blooded Cherokee Indian. Obviously, I never met him. And the story is that he was married to a redheaded, blue eyed Irish woman that came to the U.S. on a boat at some point. And my grandfather actually wore his hair, long, dark hair, wore it in braids in true Native American fashion. So the images I have of that and that I've had my whole life are just spectacular to me. Lots of strange stories. You know, my mother also says that back in our ancestry, there were gypsies and sword swallowers, and could be. And I don't know. Yeah, maybe the Irish side of that. Are there like gypsies in Ireland? Is that an Irish thing? Okay, so let's see. Baby's first routine checkup by the doctor. She was real sweet at doctors, but was sick after. Was sick after I brought her back home. Huh? They probably gave me a vaccination for something that threw me for a loop. Here's my formula mix: 13 ounces of milk, 20 ounces of water, and 2 tall spoons of Karo syrup. That's how we did baby formula back in the day. I know when my kids were little, they wanted to keep them hydrated, and they would bring this little tiny glass baby bottle that had sugar water in it, and it was water and Karo syrup. Hey, Ginger, how are you? Thank you for the birthday greetings. Here's my growth chart here. This says at 1 month at 1 month I weighed 8 pounds, 14 ounces. So I guess I gained about a pound, but I didn't grow any in length. At 3 months, I weighed 13 pounds and was 23. What does that say? 23. Oh, come on. Focus. 23 and something inches long. At 5 months, I weighed 18 pounds and I was 25 inches long. And at 8 months, I weighed 20 pounds. So I see now where my son Ty got it, because Ty was, man, he was a butterball baby, but he grew to be, he is 6'4" now and kind of a beanpole still. He's like wishing he could put on weight. Let's see. First Christmas was December 24th and 25th to Grandma Moore. So Mary Ellen Moore. Oh, this is me with my peepaw right here. There's my peepaw. Oh gosh, I don't want this to be blurry. There's my peepaw holding me. See if I can get in close enough to, I don't think I can zoom this camera either, can I? But that's me. Oh, being held by my peepaw. And it says, Peepaw Moore, Christmas 1962 with cousins Penny and Eddie Don. Penny used to live in Abilene. I remember that. I don't remember Eddie Don. That's sad. And I didn't remember that Penny was that much older than me. Oh my gosh. I haven't pulled this baby book out in years and years and years, y'all. So, okay. And now these are the Irwin kids. So this is Nora and Michael Irwin, and I am 3.5 months old in this bottom picture. I won't go too much closer because I think it's going to get... Oh, I should take these. Should I take... Oh, no, I can just move it up. Oh. Oh. Okay, yeah. So there's me. There's little baby me. I did have some hair. And look how vintage Nora and Michael look. Her little collared shirt and the little sweater and the little hairstyle. Oh my gosh, what a blast from the past. Babies first. I got my first tooth on April 29th of 63. Took a long time for me to smile. Took a long time for me to recognize my mother. And y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I did not have a childhood that I would wish any child would go through. A lot of good memories because my sister and I were very close and we spent a lot of time outside. I was very tomboyish and always loved animals. And so we spent a lot of time in nature. Always had a German Shepherd dog. So I always had a great friend and source of comfort through our dogs. But there were a lot of psychological and addiction problems for my parents. So I don't necessarily like to think about it. Obviously, the older I get, I can appreciate the good and I can find things that were good about. Hey, Robin, that were good about my parents. But we moved around a lot because there was just a lot of trouble and we had to move around a lot. Um, and, it's, I don't know. I don't want to say it's hard to talk about it. If anyone wants to ever talk with me about it, I'd love to talk about it. But I don't bring it up a lot because it was very, at times, dangerous and physically and emotionally painful. So this is fun for me to look through this just because this is me. Uh, but I just now saw that. It's funny that made me think of that when it says that I didn't recognize my mother for a long time. I don't know what that means. Maybe my mom thought I would recognize her like on the second day and I didn't. So that's kind of subjective. But uh, anyway, so there's that. You guys know a little bit more about me there. And again, if any of you ever want to call me or text me if you've got a similar story or would like to share something, I won't be graphic about things that happen, but if you can think of something really unhealthy and cruel that could have maybe happened to a kid, it happened to me. And so I can sure be a shoulder to cry on or an ear if you need someone to listen. Let's see. I sat up in April of 63. So about 7 months? I crept, which I guess means crawling, also in April of 63, April 28th of 63. And then I stood up on May 8th of 63, pulled up on coffee table. So that's pretty good. Yeah. First steps at 10 months. It's funny. Both of my girls walked way earlier than my boys. Look, y'all, I have my nervous rash because I was just talking about my childhood. So again, you can kind of get an idea now of what that probably means. So Leslie walked at 8 months. Not 8 months, 10 months. Stacy walked at 9 months. So Leslie walked at 10 months. Ty did not walk until 13 months, which really stressed me out because he and Gerald are only 14 months apart. And I was really concerned there toward the end about how I was going to manage carrying two babies at the same time, especially on grocery day, when I'd have to pull a basket of kids and push a basket of groceries and didn't want to have to be carrying two little babies. But so we walked just in time for Gerald to be born. I think Gerald walked right around a year old, so still pretty close to when Ty did. And then Stacy walked at 9 months. I'm sure that was partly because the kids taught her how to do it. But okay, so first steps at 10 months. First words were mama, bye-bye, and dada. Nothing surprising there. Okay, so just a little list of gifts that I got and the people that gave them to me. I won't go through all of these, but how fun. There's rattles and I don't know what some of this says. Shoes and socks, lamb and teddy. My favorites, I had a stuffed puppy, it says that I liked. Pets. Seems to be afraid of animals. She has seen a puppy and a goose. Oh, how funny. Playmates, none yet. Michael Irwin and Holly Jane. Holly Jane Hankins. So Holly Jane is a friend of mine on Facebook and we found each other through Facebook. I can't remember right now what her last name is now, what her married name is. But we spent a lot of time with them. And I very fondly remember our time growing up together. Gifts. Oh, for my first birthday, plastic blocks, rubber ball, pull telephone. What does that say? Rolling ball, make noise. And the ring pyramid. Those little gradually bigger plastic rings, I guess. This, this is a bow, obviously, but I don't know, was it taped to a present? It's got tape on it, so I'm guessing it was probably taped to a gift, and I guess it was taped here on this page. Back in the day, too, at least when my kids were born, my kids all had really dark hair, but they didn't have much of it, so at least it looked like they had hair. But the girls, they would put a little dab of K-Rose syrup on their heads and then stick a little bow on it. This was right when Stacy was born. It was right near the beginning of the real cute little elastic, like lacy headbands that somebody was brilliant enough to invent so that baby girls with no hair could have a little headband. Oh, it is the first Wednesday of the month. I don't know if you can hear the sirens, but they're testing the sirens. I know that means it's 1 o'clock here. Second birthday, I got a coloring book and crayons and a storybook. Third birthday, again, I won't go through all of these. And then it kind of ends there, y'all. But what's sad, I don't know if it's sad. It's kind of funny. I'll get to the back of the book here. So there could have been a whole lot more filled out. But again, y'all, things just got worse and worse and worse with every year that passed after I was born. And so it doesn't surprise me that a lot of things that a lot of parents might celebrate for their first child weren't noted here. That could also be why I don't have a lot of baby pictures. I got my first bath the day after I got home. I went outside for the first time a week after I was home. Here's some more again on how to take care of your baby. So this is a card for my sister. My sister is 11 months younger than I am. And we were already living in Arlington, so this has to be after 1972. This was 1975. And I don't remember what she might have been sick with, but it's a get well card inside here. And it was from my Meemaw and Peepaw, Virgil and Mary Ellen Moore. They lived in Clarendon up in the Texas Panhandle. We used to go there every Christmas and sometimes for spring break. We loved it because it was Tornado Alley. So when we were there for spring break, I know at least a time or two, the tornado sirens would go off and we'd get to go down into the cellar in the backyard. There were cows that lived in the pasture just behind their house. And my grandparents always had a great garden. That's where I learned about gardening. And we got to help, pull weeds and harvest food. And so triple vaccine in December of 62, measles vaccine in March of 65, no illnesses. I was a pretty healthy kid. And it's funny, the first 3 times I was pregnant, when they do the initial blood work at one of the early just OB visits, they came back then when I would go in the next month for a visit and told me the first 3 times that I had no immunity to mumps, measles, or rubella. And I thought, how odd, because I got the shots. We had to get shots every year before we could even start school, because this was back in the day when first day of school, they would line us up in the hall and a nurse would go down the row with this inoculation gun, put it in one kid's arm. I remember getting our I think it was our smallpox vaccines that way. Put it in one kid's arm, wipe it off with an alcohol gauze, go to the next kid, same needle, and just go down the line and give us all our vaccinations. So, yeah, I may just do that, Byron. I may send her a little message. It's very comforting a lot of times to get older and realize that you're not all that special when it comes to unpleasantness or unfortunate things happening. A lot of shared histories for a lot of people. But anyway, so told me when I was pregnant with Leslie, I had no immunity to mumps, measles, and rubella. And they said, after the baby's born, you'll need to get the shots. So I got the shot. Got pregnant with Ty. They did my blood work. Told me I had no immunity to mumps, measles, and rubella. It was a different doctor with Ty because my other doctor had retired. He had retired or passed away. And I said, oh, they gave me the shot after Leslie was born. I said, well, for whatever reason, you don't have an immunity. So they gave me the shot after Ty was born. Went in for Gerald, got my blood work. They said, you have no immunity to, okay, you get where I'm going with this? So I got the shot after Gerald was born. I got pregnant with Stacy, and they did my blood work. I went back for the next visit and no one said anything. So before I checked out that day, I asked them if I had immunity to mumps, measles, and rubella, which they seemed to think that was an odd question. I thought it made total sense. And they pulled up my whatever report that is, and they said, oh, yeah, everything looks good. And I said, well, what do you know? It took me 3 times now in the last 5 years of getting the shots to get an immunity. I never had mumps, measles, or rubella as a kid growing up, and those were really common when I was a little girl. Like that was a every week thing. Somebody we knew had one or more of those diseases. So here's what I started to say about it being kind of sad. So my sister Sharon does not have her own baby book. Here's her baby book stuff written on the back inside cover of my baby book. Yeah, is that kind of weird? That seems kind of weird. But this is my old beat up baby book. And I, of course, when I was hunting around for this baby book today, I came across some other like old pictures, me in high school. I do have some plans because I came across my best friend in high school was Trey Hillman. You guys may know him. I know he coached for Detroit. He coached for Detroit. He's been a professional baseball coach for a long time. And he played minor league ball, but they discovered a blood condition or something with him. And he went to college on a baseball scholarship, so he was that good at baseball. But he was my best friend in junior high and high school. His mom really, for a long time, offered and really wanted me to just come and live with them because he was very aware of what was happening at my house. And where was I going with that story? Oh, so his mom brought me once upon a time. This was after I'd had all the kids even, and she stopped by the house and she had made copies of VHS recordings of some of because Trey sang with me also. We were in the show choir together and we were in the big choir together. And we were in a contemporary Christian band together after we got out of high school. I was married already and I think pregnant with Leslie at the time. And she made me copies of some VHS recordings of some, like the High School Musical. My senior year, I starred in the musical that year. It was Bye Bye Birdie. And a couple of a little handful of our other shows, our big end of the year choir show, and at least one of the show choir performances. And so I want to find a way to get those. Thank you, Byron. I want to find a way to get those videos either digitized so that I can share some footage from them, or I'll just we have a little TV here somewhere that has a VHS player in it, a VCR in it. And so even if it's not a great quality, I guess I can turn this one off now. Even if it's not great quality, I just thought that might be fun too, to look at some old high school productions with me singing. And we kind of did some dancing. The show choir, we had some choreography for stuff. I'm not much of a dancer, but anyway, so that's in the works, is to share some more old vintage video with you guys here on the channel. I wanted to take a picture of that email address, Stephen, because I don't have anything to write on right now. So I'm going to get a picture of this video, of this email address. Oh, I don't need the flash. That just makes it where I can't see it. Okay, so I've got that email address. And I just thank you guys for making the birthday even more special. Hey, Rich, how are you? Thanks for popping in. We just went through my old baby book. And I thought I'd give you guys another little, put another little bug in your ear for the Late Late Horror Show YouTube group that I just, like, it's a ritual now for me every night. The live stream starts at 9 p.m. Central Time last night, and I really wanted to stay up at least until midnight so I could kind of celebrate my birthday day anyway with the people that are in the live chat there. Great group of people. And last night it was the 1932 old time radio series of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And the channel creator had to do a lot of work to kind of clean up, just think about any files from recordings of stuff that long ago are going to just deteriorate over time. the audio was so clear, and the atmosphere in this group is just so fun. So again, if you're a fan of old time radio, it's not always that kind of stuff. Usually it's more recent than that. So, stuff from the 50s, 60s, 70s. But it's just a great group of people, and it's fun to listen to those old vintage shows and listen to some of the old commercials sometimes. I don't know. I kind of suspect, because Richard typically on my birthday will either bring home dinner or sweets or both on his way home from work. So I'm kind of thinking we might have a cake. I bought them mostly for him, because I bought myself some peaches. That's like fruit is my favorite sort of sweet. But I bought some cupcakes when I was grocery shopping yesterday. So if I get a hankering for some cake, hi, Generational Homestead. Welcome to the chat. And thank you for the birthday greetings. Then I'll at least have some cupcakes in there. I don't want to make a cake. I have chicken enchilada casserole on my menu for this week. And I wanted to kind of cook it today, but I haven't started it yet. So it doesn't take real long, but I'm going to wait and see. So he may surprise me and not bring home something to eat, but he usually does. At least if we're not going out, then he usually does bring home something so that I don't have to cook. But not sure then about a cake yet. And let me make sure I didn't miss any other questions. Anybody have questions for me? I don't know if there's anyone else in the chat that's 60 or older yet. If you're not, I know the older I get, obviously, the more I am the oldest one in the group, wherever I am, whatever I happen to be doing. So I've definitely seen lots of things change, and have just learned and lived a lot. So, if you're younger enough that you got some questions about what life was like back in the old days, I'm happy to share. Oh boy, so here comes my singing video, y'all. If you're not familiar with Joe at Garden State Gardener, he does the funnest shout outs by way of like CGIing content creators singing. So check him out. If you're not connected to him, get connected. Get involved in one of his Sunday lives. He does prizes, and there's great polka music. It's impossible. I picture when we're all in the chat during one of his Sunday lives, that when that music starts, because I know I'm just doing like this, it's just impossible to not kind of be bopping along, because it's that kind of atmosphere. Thank you, Joe. My favorite cake. Again, I don't eat a lot of cake. I like carrot cake. I like Italian cream cake. I guess I like the things that have little textury things in them. I do like black forest cake. Again, it's got fruit in it because it's cherries, and when I make cakes, I like to make bundt cakes, and I like to do like apples in it, or lemons, things like that. So I like fruity kind of cakes. All right. So if you have questions, I may put up a little community post. And if you guys have questions about what life was like back in the 60s, 60s or 70s. Again, I'm sure some of you are young enough that you may not have even been around in the 60s and the 70s. What a neat thing YouTube is, that all of us from so many different generations and places in the country or around the world can be together, and we're just all the same by virtue of being part of this YouTube family. But again, I've seen lots of things in my life, and hopefully have learned a thing or two because of what I've seen. I still feel like, and this has been since I was a little bitty girl, so as long back as I can remember, I wanted to be a doctor. For a long time, I wanted to be a doctor. And when I was, before I even started school, people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would say a doctor. So that kind of got put on a back burner. I was in school. I was a nursing major. I started out as a pre-med major at the University of Texas at Arlington. Then I got married and had a family, and my plan was I'll just put this on hold for a little while, and then I'll go back to school, when the kids are older, because I didn't want to wait to have kids. Um, and then I got divorced, and school had to be put on an even bigger back burner. But when I did go back to school, I was a nursing major. I thought, okay, this is a quicker route to get into healthcare. Uh, and that was really challenging to manage full-time job and 4 kids and full-time school. So it got put on a back burner again. And the last time I was in school, it was just online courses, and I just got my healthcare administration degree because I thought, wherever I end up, I still kind of want to do healthcare, and that'll be handy. That'll come in handy, and it was. But the only other thing I ever wanted to be growing up was a meteorologist. In the 3rd grade, we lived in Jacksonville, Florida, and Hurricane Agnes came through. I've always been fascinated by the weather and, anything to do with the sky, stuff like that. I'm a big stargazer and planned vacations around the Perseid meteor showers, things like that. And so for that summer that Hurricane Agnes came through, well, I don't guess it was summer because it was still the school year. And I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, I want to be a meteorologist. But that didn't last. So just another little tidbit of information about me. And then I know we have David Hunt here. If you guys have not checked out his channel, there is so much ministry and therapy and healing that happens through the music he shares at his channel. I really encourage you guys to check him out. And David, I did send you an email. I would love to have you on a live stream coming up soon so we can interview you and introduce you to maybe some new subscribers, new viewers. So obviously I feel very connected to David because he plays piano. I play piano, not that I've devoted much time to it in a long time. I taught myself to play well enough that I accompanied my high school choir. Interestingly, it was on like the most difficult pieces. So, and I was in the show choir too, though, so I couldn't accompany all the time because I was performing a lot of the time. I took 6 months of piano lessons in the 7th grade. My parents got me that for my birthday that year, but they couldn't afford more than 6 months. But the teacher was pretty impressed. I was born left-handed, but that's another thing that's changed. At the time, and I guess where I lived, people didn't know that some kids are just born left-handed. My grandfather, my maternal grandfather, was ambidextrous. I don't know. I can't think of any other left-handed people in the family off the top of my head, but that could be because they went through what I went through, which was not being allowed to use my left hand. So I would go home from school pretty much every day with a note to my parents about, something along the lines of, Kathy can't remember which hand to use for cutting or for coloring or for writing or whatever it was. It was like, I was wrong to naturally pick up things with my left hand. I had terrible handwriting my whole life. I still have bad handwriting, and I kind of blame it on that. Who knows if it would have been any better? Some people just have bad handwriting, but I'll never know because I wasn't allowed to learn how to write with my left hand. It's come in handy because when I took those 6 months of piano lessons, I remember one of our first lessons, the piano teacher saying to me, I don't want you to worry or be stressed if it takes a while for your left hand to catch up. We're going to, just take our time and get it to where it's comfortable for you. No, my left hand was right equal with my right hand. So at that point, by 7th grade, because I was naturally left-handed, but had to learn to use my right hand, I had a leg up, a hand up on learning to play the piano. I had played by ear for many, many years before I got to take those lessons. And so the lessons were a blessing for me because I learned to read music and I learned just a music theory and time signatures and things like that. Got to accompany 3 of my 4 kids for UIL competitions in high school, choir and band. Maybe I've told some of you guys this before, but usually it's only the judge that gets to be, or the judges that get to be in the room when the person is, performing. But because I was the accompanist for them, I got to be there with them, which they said was very special for them. And I know it was very special for me. So I don't know if any of these little videotapes will have any of the shows where I got to play the piano for the choir. I accompanied several girls in high school that competed in what we called the Miss Texan pageant. Our mascot was the long, tall Texan. And every year there was a talent show. I don't remember guys ever being in it. Well, it was called the Miss Texan pageant. Maybe there was a separate one for the guys that I don't remember. And I was not confident enough to play myself to compete, but I accompanied several girls. And one year, the girl that I accompanied won the show. So that's a special memory for me. But I haven't spent a lot of time on it lately. So my goal, I really want to learn to play the guitar. I want to learn to play the guitar so bad. So if you guys are guitar players out there, I know, Rich, you're a guitar player, and Rich has already encouraged me to stick with trying to learn. But I'm like kind of a weenie about my fingertips being so sensitive. And I want the quick fix for how to get my fingers to not hurt after I fiddle around on it for a little while. So I'll take any tips or tricks or suggestions or lesson programs you can recommend. But again, I'll put something in my community tab. Just open it if somebody wants to ask me questions about my childhood or what the 60s were like. I can tell you that siren, that if you were here just a little while ago when the first Wednesday of the month alert sirens are tested, when I was a little girl, those sirens would go off and it still meant air raid. That's what the 60s were like. That still meant that someone was going to fly over and bomb us. So it only sort of gradually also became tornado warning sirens and stuff. Maybe it was always used for that, but I know, like at school, if we heard the sirens, we had to get under our desks and put our hands over our heads. And the older I got, the more I thought that was funny, that someone might have thought. I have two guitars. Well, we have three guitars, David. One is missing a string, but we've got two really nice 6-string acoustic guitars that I bought them thinking I'm going to learn to play the guitar. And that's probably been 5 or 6 years ago now. So yes, I've got guitars. But anyway, what was I saying about the sirens? But as I got older then and learned more about atomic bombs and nuclear bombs, I always thought, why did anybody think that would protect us if we were under our desks? I mean, I guess if it was just a good old fashioned missile, they keep debris from causing more trouble than it might cause. But I don't know how being under a desk with your hands over your head is going to help if somebody decides to push the nuclear bomb button. But there's still a little part of me that when I hear those sirens, I'm transported back to a time in my childhood when we would hear those sirens and it meant war. So, okay. So I just start making myself at least spend a little time every day to get my fingertips ready. And I'll try to maybe keep you guys updated on my progress with that as well. Oh, I'm adding too many ideas to my to-do list here. But so I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate it more than you know every time you're here. But for sure today, I appreciate it. Hey, Nathan. Oh my gosh, you're in my chat. This is awesome. So Nathan, right? I know you from Late Horror Show, right? Pretty sure I know you from the Late Horror Show. I was just putting in a plug for the channel. And y'all, I was really excited because last night I was made a moderator at that channel. And I know Dino is very particular in a great way. He does have some very high standards for how people behave in the chat, which is part of why it's such a great group of people, because it's people that come in and they want it to be a good chat and a fun experience. And they, no politics and no harassing and stuff like that. So Nathan is someone I know from that group. So here's another reason. And I'll have to look you up, Nathan, and send you some birthday greetings tomorrow. But I'll wish you an early happy birthday today, my fellow Virgo. But again, especially heartwarming today that you guys are here with me on my birthday. We don't get out a lot. I told you guys that before. And since I retired, money's a little tighter, so we're not eating out and doing entertainment stuff away from home that much. I'm not complaining. I love my life, and I waited a long time to be able to devote myself to being a homemaker and then growing a YouTube channel. But this made it really special. I thought, what would I want to do? I would want to spend some time with friends. So I'm just gonna do my own little birthday gathering here with a live stream. So I appreciate all of you that were here today. And I'll see you guys on Friday. Robin from What the Flock will be my guest on Friday. So thanks in advance for coming and showing her some support by being there. And I'll let you go, move on to bigger and better things. I hope you're having good weather. I hope if you still need rain, you're getting it. And I will see you later today. My latest installment of the animated Rich Cat Ranch went up this morning. If you haven't seen those, check those out. I do have a playlist that has all of them in there. And it's just real life things that happen here, but I use an animation filter to kind of turn it into something a little more artistic and hopefully interesting. So I'd appreciate it if you'd at least run that little playlist for me and check those videos out. And then my homage to Stranger Things went up yesterday. If you haven't seen my upside down video, Ginger from Not For Nothing Homestead, and I are challenging all of you to do an upside down video. So mine is only a couple minutes long. It doesn't have to be long. And it was absolutely an accident that the video was upside down while I was recording it. I don't know how that happens. Usually your phone orients itself. So I don't know how it happens. I was going to flip it after I loaded it onto the computer and looked at it. And then I thought, oh no, I'm going to do something trendy with it. So I think it turned out fun, and I would love to see you guys create something similar, because Ginger did one too. I think it was hilarious. I think it turned out awesome. So we're having fun with it. Again, so I keep saying I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go. Blessings to everyone. Love to everyone from Rich Cat Ranch. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you being here and sharing yourselves with us and giving us your time and your support and your attention. And I hope again that it's a great day for you. I'll see you on Friday. I do have another Throwback Thursday video going up tomorrow. Please don't be harsh with your criticism, because it's pretty corny and I almost didn't put it up, but hey, it was a special thing for me and Richard. Look hard in the video, because you will see Richard, but he's not the star of the video like I am. And that's it. So I'm going to let you go. Again, love to everyone. Watch for my community post and let me know if you have any questions about what it was like for us old timers back in the day. All right. Take care. Bye.